Okay, I'd like to call this Board of Select regular meeting to order on June 9th, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. in the Shove Conference Room. If we can just introduce ourselves before we get started.
Richard Kurtz, Selectmen.
Karen Reddington-Hughes, Selectmen.
Paul Zolpa, First Selectman. Okay, if we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Richard, do you want to lead us today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start with the First Selectman's report. Significant changes to the state zoning law under Public Act 25-1 will take effect July 1st, 2026, requiring municipalities to permit transit-oriented middle housing developments of 2 to 9 units on commercially zoned or mixed-use properties through a streamlined summary review process, with additional provisions allowing similar approaches in residential zones. In response, our land use staff have prepared draft amendments for the local zoning regulations, which the Zoning Commission is scheduled to review this evening and is expected to advance to a public hearing later this summer, likely in late July or early August. There have been several recent requests and concerns regarding town roads. Residents have asked for the addition of a centerline stripe on Quasick Road, and we are actually planning to address that in the coming weeks. There have also been multiple concerns about the Route 6 317 right turn area, where motorists have been formally creating a turn lane, creating a potential safety hazard and near accidents. I've spoken with Dave from Public Works, and we're talking about some possible solutions on that. And it'll be something we'll bring up in a future meeting. Additional inquiries have been made regarding the unpaved section of Ruckham Road, as well as complaints about potholes and pavement deterioration on Quassapog Road. There have also been reports of fully clogged catch basins along Grassy Hill, which are contributing to water issues and damage to nearby driveways. Plan to invite Dave to an upcoming Board of Selectmen meeting to discuss these concerns and to outline some potential strategies for addressing them. Concerns about the town seal. I want to clear up some of the confusion about the town seal that was approved at the last Board of Selectmen meeting. What was approved was a simple official seal consisting of the current town logo encircled by the words "Seal of the Town of Woodbury, Connecticut." The seal will be approximately 1 inch in diameter and designed for embossing paper, and therefore will not appear in color. Should the town decide in the future to create a larger full color version of the seal, we will not rely on AI-generated mock-ups as was previously done. Instead, we will engage a professional graphic designer to ensure a properly developed and appropriate design. I've established a quarterly meet and greet schedule at both the Woodbury Public Library and at the Senior Center. These sessions will be held on Thursday, July 30th from 6:30 to 8 in the Library Gallery, Monday, August 3rd from 1 to 3 at the Senior Center, Wednesday, October 21st from 5 to 6:30 in the Library Gallery, and Friday, November 6th from 1 to 3 at the Senior Center. Now, the purpose of these gatherings is to share updates on town projects, provide residents with an opportunity to ask questions, and encourage open discussion about community matters. As always, residents do not need to wait for these sessions and are encouraged to reach out to my office at any time. Contract negotiations are continuing. We held our third session with the police union on June 1st. Negotiations with Public Works, the Supervisors Union, and the Admin's Assistants meeting will be scheduled over the next 2 weeks, and I'll provide additional details during the non-meeting following this meeting, and I will explain that later. CTDOT Route 317 lane departure warning project. At the last meeting, I mentioned that the Connecticut Department of Transportation has planned a project along Route 317 to install lane departure warning structures. Dave did attend that meeting, and basically that work is going to continue, or is going to begin over the summer. During that meeting, he met with Roxbury First Selectman Patrick Roy and Bridgewater First Selectman Eric Sell, and they've requested my support in asking for the DOT to either cancel the installation because of disturbing the residents, or to install something called mumble strips, which are sinusoidal strips that are going parallel to the line, not perpendicular like what we have out here in Route 6. I did a lot of research on it. I provided a letter to DOT Traffic, and they declined to change the plan. Not surprised. South Green land conveyance on June 4th, Governor Lamont signed House Bill 5542, authorizing the conveyance of the South Green to Woodbury. We're now waiting for Connecticut DOT to submit the conveyance to the State Property Review Board, who finalizes the conveyance. No new updates at the time on the energy audit. Titan Energy and Energia still have all the data, and we're waiting further feedback from them. Hollow Park renovations. The construction of the family restroom at Hollow Park continues to progress. Due to a delay in the pouring of the floor, the project completion date has now been extended to July 20th. It was basically at the end of June. Additionally, recent vandalism in the men's room is currently under active investigation by the police department. The grant money for the .gov transition has been released and project plans have started. We'll be discussing the grant under new business. Ambulance activity. May was a busy month for the Ambulance Association, responding to a total of 111 calls for service, which was an 11% increase compared to April. On average, the association handled approximately 3.6 calls per day. This level of activity reflects not only the high demand for emergency services, but also the continued dedication and commitment of the association members. Any member of the public interested in helping the ambulance, they would be more than happy to have you join their ranks. The police department handled 380 calls for service during the month of May. The May activity included 239 officer-initiated actions, 31 alarms, 20 medical assists, 94 patrol checks, 41 citizen assists, 13 motor vehicle accidents, 117 traffic stops, 1 criminal mischief, 1 domestic incident, 4 suspicious incidents, and 2 untimely deaths. The latest reports are available on the town website. The fire department handled 44 dispatches for the month of May. The May activity included 4 fire, 16 hazardous situations, 9 public service calls, and 15 non-emergencies. Total calls for 2026 is 173, and they're averaging approximately 1.2 calls per day. During May 2026, the Public Works Department made significant progress across multiple operations, including sweeping, grading, drainage, mowing, and road maintenance. Crews completed extensive spring sweeping across town roads and downtown areas, including a follow-up re-sweep in response to residents' concerns. Dirt road maintenance remained a priority, with grading, material placement, and compaction performed on numerous roads such as Sawpit, Ruckham, Mill, Minortown, White Deer Rocks, Cowles, Quattapog Trail, Scuppo, Stanford, and Brushy Hill. Drainage improvements included culvert replacement on Railtree and ditch and basin cleaning townwide. The department also advanced its mowing program across multiple sections and detour routes in preparation for seasonal use and events. Additional work included curb repairs, patching in several locations, sign replacements and upgrades, storm response for downed trees, equipment maintenance, and support for town events, including the budget referendum and parade preparations. Material hauling and coordination with contractors and agencies, including DOT and subcontractors, continued throughout the month, reflecting steady progress on infrastructure maintenance and responsiveness to residents' concerns. This guy's been pretty busy over the last month, and we'll be continuing. So just to conclude, several upcoming events that we need to be aware of. The Library Flower Show from June 11th through the 13th. Woodbury Public Library will host the Pomperaug Valley Garden Club's Flower Show, called Historic Woodbury in Bloom. The show will be open to the public and held at the library's gallery. On June 19th, the Woodbury Republican Town Committee will host a Juneteenth celebration on the North Green from 6 to 8. The evening will include live music, hot dogs and soda, and reading of the Emancipation Proclamation. Residents are encouraged to attend and take part in this meaningful community celebration. The Arts Alliance of Woodbury will host a Midsummer Night's Dream Dance on Saturday, June 20th at 7 p.m. at the Old Town Hall. The special evening promises a festive community gathering featuring art, music, fine wine, and light refreshments, all set in a welcoming atmosphere with neighbors and friends. Residents and visitors alike are encouraged to attend and celebrate the vibrant local art scene. Additional details can be found on the Arts Alliance of Woodbury website. On July 4th at 10 a.m., the Woodbury Democratic Town Committee will sponsor a public reading of the Declaration of Independence on the steps of the Woodbury Public Library. Residents are encouraged to attend and take part in this Independence Day tradition. The town's summer concert series will kick off on July 8th with a special America 250 celebration. The evening will feature a festive mix of displays and food trucks, creating a lively community event for all to enjoy. The highlight of the night will be a performance by Night Shift, delivering fun and energetic lineup of crowd-pleasing hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Residents are encouraged to come out and celebrate the start of the summer season with music, food, and community spirit. An America 250 event will be held at the Woodbury Public Library on Saturday, July 11th at 1 p.m. During the ceremony, Town Tree Warden Bud Neal and myself will unveil the trunk of a maple tree that began its life 250 years ago at the birth of this nation. Immediately following the ribbon cutting, attendees are invited to attend the gallery to enjoy refreshments and explore the treasures of Woodbury, a unique exhibit showcasing town-owned art and memorabilia. Guests will also have the opportunity to purchase their own piece of Charter Oak history, along with a selection of America 250 commemorative merchandise. And finally, the Pomperaugh Garden Club on October 10th, they will be hosting a Susan B. Shove hike and reenactment. I've been reporting this for the last month and a half that it was June 6th. It turns out that was actually moved to October 10th. No one ever told me. So you didn't miss it if you were there last Saturday wondering where Susan B. Shove was. She is going to be showing up on October 10th. Additional information about this event, along with others planned as part of their centennial celebration, can be found on the Woodbury Public Library website, as well as the Gardens Club's website. That is my report. All right, Richard.
Yes, so a couple of things. In pursuing our roving traffic monitoring, I guess it's not a camera, sensor.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had residents requesting Tuttle Road and Mountain Road be added to the future list of deployment sites. Interestingly, the same person who asked for Mountain Road suggested that there might be support on the residents of Mountain Road to permanently block it at Old Town Hall and make that a cul-de-sac with extra parking for Old Town Hall. So we can put that into our, what are we going to do when we get the corridor study?
Okay.
Is my next question. Any update on the corridor study?
I spoke with Richard. He said that they are still waiting for the report from the contractor. So I am very surprised, since that ended in the end of February, and here we are at the end of June, 3 months later, and we still don't have it. I have a meeting with them on Friday, and then I'm also bringing Dave from Public Works with me, so we will double team them and find out where we are with that.
I found out today the bear problem at Spruce Bank Farm did not go away when they dismantled the
house
property next door.
Okay.
And in fact, it's at the point that residents have been told to stay inside because the bear comes to their doors now. Spruce Bank Farm have contacted Deep, but not heard back from them. And so they were requesting
Some assistance?
to get Deep to respond.
Okay.
Because clearly it's a significant safety hazard of that. So there's that. I'll leave that with you. And this may actually fit better with the when we talk about hiring, progress on getting you an assistant.
We've moved very, very well.
Oh,
So, so we will cover that in the personal piece.
Okay.
So,
and that is it.
okay. Karen?
Oh, just reiterating some of the old things. Residents reached out on, especially Cospog Road, that's full of potholes, and trying to explain that while we certainly are cognizant of some of the roads and their need for help, that there are roads that are on the bond list that are being worked on, and that if something rises to something more than what we have on that list, then they could be switched out. But right now it looks like patching some of these roads is really what we're going to be able to do in the interim, and Public Works is very amenable to doing that. So I think that they will be out there in force and trying to remedy some of the problems that we're seeing. The other universal thing was, who knew, the logo from the last meeting, that it was, I got anything from, well, it doesn't look like our other logo. Well, it wasn't, because it was AI generated. And also, what are the ghost clouds in this? And I was like, ghost clouds? What are you talking about? Well, I guess the clouds in that little fake one look like little ghosts.
Well, they're actually, and actually, if you go look at it, they aren't
Yeah.
clouds. They're actually trees.
Oh,
So
okay.
you look at our original logo; those were the
So-
trees for Woodbury. So
So anyway, but just to be clear that we will be using our
our logo.
most recent rendition from Cindy Gillette was what we will be using for,
Right here.
yes, right there, for the town seal. And we are not, have any plans of changing that. So
Yep.
that's it.
Okay. Privilege of the floor. The Board of Selectmen will recognize citizens who are asked to state their name and address. Limit comments to 3 minutes or less. 20 minutes per statements per topic will be allowed. All comments should be addressed to the first selectman, and decorum will be enforced. Suzanne.
Suzanne Lovig, 78 Arrowhead Way, Woodbury. Paul, I was just wondering if there's any new dates for the strategic meetings?
I have not set those yet because we're so wrapped right now with the contract negotiations. I have not been able to spend any time on that.
Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't missing it.
Nope. But probably we'll hold off on any more meetings until July, just because we're, again, trying to get through the contract negotiations. And then we're also ramping up our projects, such as the ERP system, the website, the migration to .gov, and a few other software tidbits that are going to take up a lot of my time. So I'm not going to be able to spend too much time on that piece of it.
Okay.
Okay.
And you started off your report with zoning, going over some changes to some housing that's coming. Can you reread that?
Sure. So there was a change in laws that are going to be taking effect on July 1st. They're requiring municipalities to permit transit-oriented middle housing developments of 2 to 9 units in commercial zones and also mixed-use properties. And they're streamlining the summary review process, and they're allowing additional provisions that are allowing similar approaches in residential zones. Okay, so, and I think that transit-oriented middle housing is not like transient, it's transit. So it's
Yeah,
like, if it was near a train station or a
Station.
bus stop or something like that, that's kind of what they're targeting.
And that was middle housing.
Middle, M-I-D-D-L-E.
Because somebody knows what that means.
I don't know. It's in quotes too. Transit-oriented middle housing. I don't know. But there's the Council of Small Towns issued a kind of a summary of all of the things that were going on, and there were a whole list of zoning things. And I provided that to Will, and Will said that he's already been working on amendments to zoning just to try and address that. And actually, I believe they are actually having their first meeting to review those things this evening.
Yeah, when I was there, transient meant something totally different.
Yeah, it wasn't transient. I don't think
No,
it was
it's
transit.
Yeah,
We used the word transit a lot. We were like, we gotta change that.
Well,
It
because
sounded like
it's called a
overall.
TOD, a transit-oriented district, and that was what the original bill was actually written about. So what they were doing was trying to create transit-oriented districts around train stations and bus stations and terminals, and where people would have access to transportation. So that if you were going to put in a housing structure that was affordable housing, that you would have access to that transportation. And thus, if somebody came there without a car, that they would be able to go to a job, that they would be able to have the ability to move freely.
It's happening in some of the other towns near Hartford.
Yeah. Well, Greenwich is a big one, yeah.
And it's up near Hartford.
I know.
It's very nice. So,
Okay, thank you.
you okay?
I am, thank you.
Kathy Doyle, 35 Washington Road. If the corridor study, if it continues to be pushed off, if there's any possibility that we could regroup as a committee and go through at least what the findings were that had originally been presented to see if we can identify some of the quick things that could be done. Because we're now in June, and I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna start on the budget come after Labor Day. And so, and I get it. You know, AECom has not been responsive at all, and that's very frustrating, because they did work for the town before. But I think there were some quick things in there, including some things that might be able to be useful on the town roads with respect to speeding and the way they put the stripes along the side of the road. So if there's a way, in July, we could reconvene a group to at least talk through the things that make sense that we would want to keep. I think that would be helpful, because I don't think some of those things would change.
Yeah.
And e-bikes are a problem. They're an ugly problem, and I don't know what the answer is, other than some towns have passed ordinances. I don't know if the town is interested in something like that, but I think when we talk about the corridor study, I think it's worth adding that to the conversation, because what I see and the way I see them riding these bikes, I just say prayers every day that somebody doesn't get killed because they aren't using them responsibly. Yes, that may fall on the parents if they're minors, but it still doesn't matter. They're a serious issue.
If I may, do you think the other members of the corridor study would be up for being regrouped or
I haven't spoken to them, but they represented other groups besides just the Shade Tree Committee. Someone was from Inland Wetlands, someone from so if they are, great. If they're not, I know there are a few people to be happy to come sit and help figure some of this out if we need it. But it was, I think I'd be surprised if they don't want to be a part of it, because one of them lives on Mountain Road. And I know when the corridor study started, Mountain Road, it was suggested by a resident from Mountain Road to make it one way to ease up on some of the speeding problems. So, you know, there may be a couple.
they've moved on from that.
to blocking it.
Blocking at Main Street.
They were told it's a problem, but it's not part of the corridor study. But that's what I mean. So in that corridor study, there
Well,
may
the
be some
corridor
things that can
study
come out.
Did point out that that junction with Mountain Road
It's
and
horrifying.
Judson Road was one of the
More dangerous.
hotspots.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, including the one that's right
This
outside
one
this
right
door
here.
here. Yeah.
That's kind of a lot.
We could sit there and take pictures all day, and you'd have plenty of money from the tickets. And I will say no more, but that's all I want to say about that. So
Great.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Correspondence. Sad note. Dear First Selectman Zolpa, please accept this letter as a formal notice of my intent to retire from my full-time constable position effective July 1st, 2026. It has been my privilege to serve the residents of Woodbury over the last 11 years. I am grateful for the opportunity. While I am retiring from full-time employment, I would be willing to remain available in a part-time capacity if doing so would be of benefit to the town. Thank you for your support and the opportunity to serve. Respectively, John Cavello. So it's a tough one to take, but understand John was planning to retire before, and he decided to stick it out for another year, and I do appreciate John doing that, and he won't be going far because I believe we will be offering him a part-time position. So, and we'll talk a little bit more. That is not. We've got an opportunity now that John is moving on. So, okay. Next item, minutes. Okay. Karen, Richard,
I'd like to move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 26, 2026 as presented.
Second that.
Thank you, Karen. Richard, any corrections?
Not that I saw.
Okay. Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next, bid awards. So this is the first one that we had delayed this from last meeting. A review was done on this. So I'd like to move to award the brush pile grinding bid to SDR based on the recommendation of the Director of Public Works and the amount not to exceed $26,000 as the lowest responsible and qualified bidder in accordance with the bid specifications.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, so when this bid went out, the pile was much smaller. And so by the time the bid came in, it grew by about a third. Basically, the original bid came in at 19,880, which was significantly lower than the other companies. When they went through, there's actually a clause in there that said that they would basically, increase the size of the grind based on the same price that they would they quoted for the lower item. So basically, SDR came in at $710 per yard. So that's the reason why it jumped from 19,000 to 25,000. It's because we went from 25 cubic yards to 3,500 cubic yards. Dave has worked with SDR, I believe, when he was in Harwington, quality company. And he did review, and he's assured that everything that we were looking for, which was the double grind, that will be held. So that was the recommendation.
Quick question on that. Do you know, I mean, I'm going to ask you, but I don't know if you know, but
Okay.
do they provide the loading equipment? So does their quote include the excavator to feed the machine, or does the public works need to do this?
That I don't know.
And also, does it include the site cleanup?
Yes. So what it's going to do is actually, I believe the double grind is going to occur right there. So it's just basically moving from a giant brush pile to a mulch pile.
Yeah.
So, and they have actually, they've done a lot of work. Meaning Public Works, has done a lot of work over there to clear that area out. If you haven't been over there lately, it looks really, really good. Any questions? Any other questions on that? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, next is the Seven Mountain Road. Richard, you want to move this one?
Yes, move towards Seven Mountain Road Furnace Project bid to Carrigan Heating and Air Conditioning LLC based on the recommendation of the building maintainer in the amount of $36,800 as the most responsive and responsible bidder in accordance with the bid specifications.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, so as you can see on here, Kerrigan was actually $1,000 more than the other bidder. So there were only two bids that were received on this. Ed's been really comfortable with John Kerrigan. He has been extremely responsive to a number of issues that we've had. He is maintaining most of the HVAC equipment in town, and the fact that he is typically, lives very close to here, and has been extremely responsive, usually within 24 hours. Based on that, Ed has recommended that we award this to Kerrigan Heating.
Safe to assume that Ed has no conflict of interest.
Ed has no conflict of interest on this. Nope. Karen, any questions, concerns? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Excellent. Okay, donations. All right, first one is move to accept with gratitude the donation of $1,500 from Nadine Newell for the Woodbury Library to be used in the library gallery.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Karen. So this, I believe, from what Susan has told me, is that this will be used to paint the library gallery. So this is going to be done in preparation for the Pompero Garden Club's thing on the 11th. So I believe that it's actually being painted right now. Okay. Any other comments, discussion on that? No. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, next item. This came in actually today, even though Lauren and I have been talking about this for the last week or 2 weeks or so. Renee Lau approached Lauren about donating 2 industrial strength benches in memory of her husband, Chris. The benches would include a small placard noting that they were in memory of Chris, and they were to be placed near the senior center. The value of each bench is $985 plus shipping and the cost of the placard. Renee and her family would fund the entire purchase. They agreed to look at this donation in the spring so the town would not need to worry about delivery and placement during cold weather. And the bench is on the back page for review. Obviously, it needs our selectmen approval before they go ahead and order this. So the only concern that I have on this bench is we have like multiple versions of benches all around town. And I wasn't sure if we should, and I just wanted to get your feeling before we, say yes or no. But is this something that, we would not have a problem with, or do we want to try and start to standardize some of the benches around? Because I know that we've been trying to do that with a number of things at the Hollow. I know that there's a certain set of benches already at the senior center. This would be different up there. So again, I'm not sure if we want to try and bring these things in. I think this is a generous offer. I'm just not sure if this was the right bench for this or not. And honestly, I would kind of leave that up to Lauren to decide how she would like to do it. But I don't know. Your thoughts?
Does it only come in black? My first one.
Good question.
I'm trying to remember what the other benches are there.
The other benches are white,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. So there's the rocking chairs, and then there were some benches that were going along with it. Are there green ones up there too?
Underneath the portico.
Okay. So there are different benches already up there?
There's green.
Okay.
I would consult with Lauren.
And just, so maybe what we can do is we can approve this and
Yeah.
then just let Lauren
Yeah.
handle if there's a different
If
color
there's a
or maybe just a
color that
different
might work
style.
Better, then,
Right.
then she could, see if they could do that.
Okay.
Because I don't think that we're going to, I know what you're saying, okay, that, if Parks and Rec is gonna be replacing benches in the Hollow and, around, that, is it that we wanna have everything uniform? Or do we want, to have things a little different off the senior center, which they already are.
Yeah.
So I don't really see like what the problem would be, like integrating something else right there,
The things along Main Street are more or less similar. There's a lot of Lions benches.
Yes.
But those are all the Lions benches,
But
yeah.
this is
It's completely, it's off, right, it's
Yeah.
off the beaten
Yeah.
path, right?
Mhm.
I think the only concern that I had is that if there's already, a certain set of benches up there, what's it going to look like with, a completely different set of benches sitting next to
To
that,
each other,
or
yeah.
to each other. So that was my
Yeah.
only thought. Maybe not
Mhm.
having all the benches in all town all being exactly the same, but
And talk
Okay.
to Lauren.
All right.
it is very generous. of
It
them.
is
Yep.
extremely generous. That's lovely.
so, all right. So I'll make a motion that we accept the generous donation from Renee Lau for 2 industrial benches in memory of her husband, Chris, and we'll leave it up to Lauren to decide the color and the placement of the benches.
Second.
Okay. Paul and Richard. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Next, appointments. All right. So first thing, I want to amend making a motion to amend the previously adopted motion appointing Scott Sullivan to the Conservation Commission by correcting the term ending date from December 6, 2026 to January 1st, 2027.
No, second that.
Thank you. So that was a mistake on my part. I was looking at one document and then I looked at this and I thought it was ending in December, not in January. So we just wanted to formalize that change and correct it on the website. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay. Richard, you want to do the next one?
Yes, move to appoint Danielle Yes as an alternate on the Zoning Board of Appeals, filling a vacancy with a term ending December 6th, 2027.
second that.
Karen. This came from a recommendation from the Democratic Town Committee, and it would be filling a spot in there. I did reach out to Mike Novak. I did not hear back from him. Usually we try and go to the chair with a copy of this and get the chair's input. He did not respond. So I think I'd be okay with moving forward with this. Any discussion? Yeah, everybody good? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Very good. Okay.
Item 11,
Item 11.
move to authorize the first selectman to enter into an agreement.
Nope. I think nope. That's on the item 11 is that's under new business. Sorry.
Okay.
Item 11 up here is, and that's actually I'm made a mistake on there.
Oh.
Personnel report. Sorry about that. Personnel report. I'd like to invite our HR director to come up and.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Whatever. You can sit here. You can sit there. Wherever you're most comfortable. Right.
Let's put the spectacles on. All right, so in front of you, we have the hiring and staffing report as of today. And area 1, we have positions we're currently recruiting for. The first one is a full-time police officer. We have 1 open position there. We are recruiting for part-time police officers. We are recruiting for part-time assistant animal control officers. We have 1 position there. And we are recruiting for a part-time library circulation assistant in the children's room. That's a 9-hour per week position. And there's 1 position open right now. Area 2, positions in process. So we're either advertising or not, but I'm working these positions. The first one is the full-time executive assistant to the first selectman position. Just as a reminder to everyone, we've received, to start this process, 175 applications. I narrowed it down to about 17. First selectman narrowed it down to about 9. We interviewed all 9 individuals. Panel did. And then we brought it down to 2. A department head and myself interviewed the 2 over the telephone. I recorded those sessions and the department head made a recommendation to the first selectman. And the candidate that came out in first place, they are going to be interviewed by the first selectman, our chief fiscal officer, and myself this coming Monday, June 10th. And that's where we are with that position. So hopefully we can do what's right for the town and our first selectman by hopefully very soon offering a position to our new executive assistant. We've put a lot of work into this position. A lot of people have donated a lot of hours. It's a very critical position to our town. And we are very close to hopefully filling this position. The next position is a full-time police officer. As you heard our first selectman say that one of our full-time police officers, John Cavallo, has elected to retire July 1st. That opens up another full-time position. And what we've done is, about a month ago, we conducted some interviews of some applicants, and there was an applicant that really stood out. He is a certified current officer for another municipality. Really did well on the written test and the interview. So last week, I offered him a position. And he has accepted. We've started the background check on him. They typically take about 2 to 3 months
depending on how involved they are. But hopefully, if everything turns out well, we'll have a new full-time police officer in roughly about 2 to 3 months. The other position that I'm working is the part-time assistant animal control officer. We did receive 2 applications, and one of the 2 is being considered. One of the applications, for undisclosed reasons, was not considered. So we are considering 1 application, but I'm going back to get a couple more facts from our animal control officer to answer some questions. Hiring activity, area 3, we do not have any open offers right now. Part B, offers that have been accepted. The first one is the seasonal summer camp counselor. We have 10 returners, so those are the counselors that worked for us last year at our summer camp. So we're bringing 10 of them back, and we've made offers to 2 new ones, and they have accepted. Summer camp starts on June 29th. Also, for the seasonal summer camp, we've hired a art specialist, one of those, and she has accepted our offer. And also a seasonal summer camp art specialist assistant, and she has accepted our offer. And the full-time police officer that I mentioned earlier, that has accepted our offer, his name is Sean Martinez. And in my notes and comments, now that the budget has passed, I'm working with the first selectman and the facility manager to create a job description for 2 upcoming positions. These positions will come on the book July 1st. The 2 positions are an IT support technician and a lead custodian / assistant building maintainer. And then I'm also working with the public works director to create, right now we have 1 job description that is titled equipment operator. So we're trying to break that apart into equipment operator 1 and 2 for some progression. And the same thing, we have a job description for a maintainer. We're trying to break that apart, make it a maintainer 1 and 2. So a little progression for our people. And that's my report. I'll answer any questions that you would like.
No questions?
Nope.
Okay. Ray, do you just want to mention open enrollment?
Yes. So one of the other things that I've been working on is open enrollment. So that is for the upcoming, starting July 1st, for medical and dental benefits for the new fiscal year. So I've been working with our insurance broker. Now that we have renewed our benefits for July 1st, they can provide me with all the premium rates and all that there. So I have some work to do to put that, a lot of paperwork together for our employees. So I can get that out hopefully by Friday, where they will make an election if they would like to elect benefits, medical and dental benefits with the town. Some of them, about 42 of them, already carry benefits, so they'll probably continue. The other ones, they could join, they continue not taking benefits or taking benefits elsewhere. So big project, a lot of moving pieces with that, but we're in a good place and we're going to make it happen for our employees.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ray. Next is under old business, discussion for the request for marked parking. So right after our last meeting, I did reach out to Kerma, our representative, and they asked for a whole bunch of data. Basically a number of permits, some documentation from the LTA to try and understand what exactly, what type of liability would be required for those type of spots. They did request information about the parking area that's across the street, because that is probably our precedence. And I still have questions because I'm not sure what liability coverage we even have on that spot. So one of the things that I did from a research standpoint was to look at who actually has the liability and who maintains the liability or that maintains that section. And the answer was it depends. And it depends around what the agreement has been with the state. If it turns out that, we basically are managing that area, then we own the liability for it. So the question is has there been an encroachment permit filed for that section across the street? If there is, we may be liable for it. So I was not able to find anything, but Dave has some contacts in the permitting section of DOT. Dave has contacted them. They're still working through trying to see if there is actually a permit area there or not. So that's point number one. The second thing I noticed is that there are no lines marked on the street on the other side. So I'm not sure if we start putting lines in over there, if that's actually going to start setting some precedents. So I just want to throw that out there. Just an observation that I had as we're going through and doing the research on this. So we still have some work to do on it. I'm still going to carry this as an old item. But I want to let you know that this is definitely being worked. Colleen got a very large file from me and she's crawling through it. And we did talk to her yesterday. She said she's still working it. So it's active. It's an active analysis.
And my quick question would be like going all the way down to the other end where the other suggestion was made on, to have an encroachment on that side of the street, because that would be a new thing, okay, as in front of the antique store.
Yes.
Then that would, from what you're saying, it sounds as though the liability would lay upon the town then.
Yes.
Okay, so we would be liable for those parking spaces in front of the store if we were to go in that direction.
So from yes, and I believe that's what would
Yeah.
happen is it would end up in our lap. But the question is it already covered under our liability insurance, or is this going to be something additional to us? So again, we just need to continue working that. Okay. Nothing there. Then we'll move on to new business. So that should be item 13 under new business. So if you want to make that, we'll start moving this through.
Oh, sure. This says 11?
Yep.
Okay.
It want to say, yeah.
All right. Move to authorize the first selectman to enter into an agreement with the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to accept a fully funded grant for the engineering study of the replacement of the Clark Brook culvert at Minortown Road in Woodbury, Connecticut, for the purpose of providing fish passage.
And I will second that. So this was a grant that was filed by Pomperaug River for us basically on 11/21/2025. They had taken a number of pictures. So if you go through and you take a look in the package, you can see specifically on the first page, the culvert is significantly higher than the Clark Brook. And that's one of the reasons why there's a problem with fish passage because the culvert is up so high from the water. So the proposal is to work on lowering that down to something where the fish can actually pass through. So this grant is essentially to provide a plan to change that culvert. It's not actually changing the culvert. And this is 100% match. And personally, I think it's a good idea. We can use this to, possibly set us up for some additional grants.
It's 100%.
It's 100%.
Not 100% match.
Not 100%. No, I'm sorry. It's 100%.
Yeah.
No match.
No match.
Let's try that. Sorry. Thank you for the catch.
All of them, none of
Zero
us.
match.
Yes.
They pay 100% of this. Yeah. So what we need to do is this would be just allowing me to sign for this, saying it's our intention to accept this grant. Once we get the contract, that would then go to our town attorney for review before we actually execute the contract. and spoke with Dave, and Dave is ready to start moving forward with this with a bid process. So as soon as we have this signed and in, we'll generate a bid and we'll get this thing moving.
It's fascinating because it looks that when this culvert was created, water levels were much higher.
Yeah.
So that it probably was absolutely fine at the time.
Yeah.
But then as the water levels lowered, it became a real problem.
Yep. Okay. Any other discussion on that? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Next, flip the page over. This is the important one for me. So I move to authorize the first selectman to enter into an agreement with the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection under the state and local cybersecurity grant program to accept a grant in the amount of $43,844 for the migration to a Microsoft 365 GCC tenant as part of the transition to a .gov domain. This grant requires matching funds from the town in the amount of $10,961, representing 20% of the total project cost.
I'll second that.
So this was the federal government had provided the state of Connecticut an amount of money that was actually broken out for fiscal year 22, fiscal year 23, fiscal year 24, 25. So they spent about 2 years trying to figure out how they wanted to spend the money. And so they're slowly working their way through. This money is actually coming from fiscal year 2023. And it's an 80-20 match on this. And this was actually the full award of the grant that we had requested. So this is actually to move us off of the commercial enterprise tenant and move us into the GCC tenant. So this would allow us to migrate all of our email addresses over to .gov, and then it will also provide a 1-year subscription to the Microsoft 365 GCC. Been doing a lot of research on this. There are 2 levels of GCC. The level that we thought that we were supposed to move to was twice the amount of the enterprise. It was basically over $60 per user per year, or per month. Sorry, not per year, per month. So pretty significant cost for us, especially since we have about 45 E3 licenses that we need to migrate and about 14 E1 licenses. So this will cover pretty much the entire amount. So the match that we have required, we actually had a project line for this year for $29,000 for the migration. So talking to the chair of the Board of Finance as well as our fiscal officer, what we could do is encumber that money and start that process come July. So as soon as we accept this, we could start the movement of this. And obviously, for having the state pay 80% of our cost of moving to .gov is a good thing.
Much more secure.
Yes. Any comments, discussion?
Great.
So I'll be working this with, basically I'm taking this over from Nairi until we actually get an IT person. Nairi is so buried right now with year-end stuff. Audit's going to be starting soon and a number of other things. So I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to be asking the technology committee to help with this as well. So, helping through each one of those things. So they hopefully can help me project manage this thing through. Okay, anything else on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, and there are no transfers. So I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 8:25. Following adjournment, we're going to enter into a collective bargaining strategy session. a non-meeting under FOIA requirements. And I would invite Ray Legacy, our Personnel Administrator, along with the Board of Selectmen to attend that. So, thank you.